Jim Courier has explained that Novak Djokovic is like Tom Brady and recently reflected on the downfall of Rafael Nadal as well. This is how Courier described Djokovic in a recent interview. But what exactly did he say? Let's dive in. Okay, so what did Jim Courier have to say about Novak? In the latest Inside In podcast, Jim Courier analyzed Novak Djokovic's prospects. It seems that Novak Djokovic is back in top form, and his body is not that of a normal 35-year-old.
His 35-year-old body is not the average 35-year-old body.
He could have the same longevity as an icon like Tom Brady.
I could easily see him playing for, Tom Brady like years.
What surprised me most about Novak? That he is brought to a serve. His trajectories are much more difficult for opponents to read, being able to find all possible angles. In the past, he relied almost exclusively on body and slice serve, so as not to strain too much his elbow.
Where he had been largely just hitting more body serves and T-slice serves, seemingly to protect his elbow.
This is quite the statement from Courier. He believes Novak Djokovic is in it for the long haul and could play at a high level until he's very old. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but there's no denying Novak's longevity in the sport. What about the controversy around Novak Djokovic? At the moment, Djokovic is trying to end a pretty troubled season with a flourish. Novak is trying to end the year on a high, and he's done pretty well in the second half of the year to this point. The 35-year-old from Belgrade paid the price for his choice not to get vaccinated against the coronavirus, which forced him to skip the Australian Open and the US Open. This was a big decision, and without question, hurt his career in terms of his ranking and overall reputation.
Because the principles of decision-making on my body are more important than any title.
The Serbian phenomenon has seen his eternal rival, Rafael Nadal, stretch in the all-time Grand Slam standings. Also, due to his vaccination status, Djokovic has had to give up all the American Masters 1000, Indian Wells, Miami, Montreal, and Cincinnati. So while some people are doing great things this year, Novak has had a pretty rough go of it. Still, his 2022 has begun in a different direction thanks to his 7th triumph at Wimbledon, the 4th in a row. Noel has thus equaled his idol Pete Sampras and hoisted himself to 21 majors, just one length away from Nadal's record. Djokovic is busy due to his participation at the ATP Finals in Turin this week. He looks to be back on track for next year. He will also be present at the Australian Open 2023. After he missed the last edition because of the anti-COVID rules. What about Rafael Nadal's recent losses? Unfortunately for Nadal, he's been in quite a slump lately, but Courier explains that Rafael's recent losses are due to the fact that he hasn't had much luck.
Rafa beaten for the first time this year in a major.
His quest for a first-ever ATP Finals title has ended following his second straight loss in the group stage. Nadal has struggled to keep up with the fast conditions at the Palau Alpitour Arena and has gone down in straight sets in both matches. Jim Courier had quite a few things to say about Nadal's recent losses. Everyone knows it. Everyone's talking about how they feel they have a chance now, and they did not feel that way before. He needs to resurrect some of that for Australia's locker room fear factor. That's why this match matters to Rafa, he said. This is an interesting perspective from Courier. Nadal's recent losses have given his opponents a lot of confidence heading into future matches. Nadal will need to turn things around quickly if he wants to regain the upper hand heading into next year. He needs momentum towards next season. He wants to build a little bit of that aura back, Courier continued. He thinks that with the next season starting in just a few months, Nadal needs to start building up some momentum heading into it. It will be interesting to see how Nadal responds to his recent losses. He's a fighter, and there's no doubt he'll be looking to come back stronger than ever in the next season. The question of whether or not he's capable of doing that at this stage in his career remains to be seen. What did Andy Roddick have to say about this? Andy Roddick, the former pro, spoke about Rafael Nadal and the fact that he's backing him to win his next matchup against Casper Ruud. Tennis is interesting. It's always a matchup problem. We know Casper Ruud is in better form right now, and we know he is playing better, but the matchups matter. Rafa's got the better of this matchup to this point of their careers, Andy Roddick said. He thinks Nadal has the upper hand here, although it will not be easy. Ruud is a tough opponent, and he's been playing well at this point in the tournament. For this reason, and tennis is always a matchup problem, Roddick is backing Nadal to win. We'll have to wait and see how this matchup plays out, but either way, it's gonna be a tough battle. Currently, Nadal holds a 1-0 head-to-head record with Ruud, having beaten him several years ago. However, conditions have changed a lot in the current climate, and Nadal must be at his best to beat him. This is especially the case considering that Nadal has fallen off recently and can't claim claimed to be in the form he was a few years ago. Either way, it'll be an exciting match, and we can't wait to see how it plays out. Beyond this, Wilander recently commented on Djokovic's crazy skills. Roger pushed the boundaries, then Rafa pushed him before Novak Djokovic came on stage to spoil the party. Wilander explained in a recent interview where he opened up about Novak's incredible skill.
Djokovic, what are you doing? That is outrageous!
The three-time Australian Open and French Open champion also boasted about the Serb for his physical and mental strength and dominance on the court. The guy is physically an absolute exception and emotionally an animal on the tennis court. Amazing, Wilander said on Djokovic. This, of course, is incredibly high praise and should come as no surprise when considering the qualifications that Novak Djokovic has. With Djokovic being a player to beat in Paris and holding every record in the latest Masters event, Wilander is certainly not alone in his praise. Novak Djokovic's 2022 may have had a rough start, but he seems to be recovering incredibly well, especially considering his obstacles. And now that Djokovic has been granted a visa to play in the 2023 Australian Open, completely different than his ban from the 2022 tournament, he's looking to move forward and win some more Grand Slams in the upcoming year. For now, he'll be focusing on rebuilding his career from the previously mentioned issues he's had, but it certainly seems that Novak Djokovic is looking forward to 2023 and the chance to prove to everyone that he's still one of the best tennis players in the world.
A 7th Wimbledon, a 21st Grand Slam.
Okay, so what's next for Djokovic? As you can see, Djokovic's recent slump has been well documented, but he might be turning things around. He's getting his 2023 Australian Open visa and is looking to rebuild his career from the ground up. He still has a lot of work to do, but there's no doubt he'll be back to his best soon. So keep an eye out for Djokovic in the next few months, because he will be a force to be reckoned with. When you have multiple famous players, such as Jim Courier and Wilander, praising you for your skills, it's safe to say that you're pretty good at what you do. Novak Djokovic is a true legend of the sport, and there's no doubt will continue to be one of the best in the world for many years. Whether he's capable of taking on the best of the best and becoming the champ remains to be seen, but with his talent, there's no reason why he can't. Djokovic will be back to his best soon enough, and when he is, you can be sure that he'll be a force to be reckoned with. All the top analysts are projecting this, so it's super exciting to be part of this journey and witness Djokovic's talent. No matter what you think about him, considering all the controversies he's been a part of, there's one thing you cannot deny, and that's the raw skill this guy has. Okay, let's sum it up. In the past, Djokovic has had some issues involving controversy, which led him to skipping the Australian Open and the US Open. However, he is rebuilding his career from the ground up and is getting ready for 2023. Jim Courier has recently praised Djokovic for his skills, saying he could have the same longevity as Tom Brady. Courier also reflected on Rafael Nadal's recent losses and explained that they are due to the fact that Nadal hasn't had much luck on his side and needs to recover his mentality before his next matches. But what are your thoughts on the situation? Go ahead and let us know in the comments below. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see ya in the next one.